Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
The service department at Gala Chevrolet is clean, modern, and ready for you. Our master technicians service every make and model, including certified service on any GM vehicle. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti, along with Ed Nunez. Glad to have you along here on Comcast Channel 26, Proview Networks, also on Facebook Live. Alden Iowani, our fine director, will be writing the ship here today, and we're going to be talking a lot of sports here today. We'll get right into it, Ed Nunez, as we will talk about the week that was. A lot of basketball action starting with the first week of basketball. We'll give you some highlights here in a moment, but what did you see?
Gosh, it seemed like I was covering a game almost every night. So, I had a doubleheader last Monday night, worked Tuesday, worked Thursday, and really the best game of the week that we had, or myself and BB Rico, was the Albuquerque High Del Norte game that went into overtime. And Del Norte, under Jaron McIntosh, 3-0 on the young season. Keep an eye on them. And really got a kick out of the star of the game, Justin Nielsen, I believe. He had hit a 3 in overtime, and for the Knights to kind of go ahead. And after the game, he tells us, he told me in the interview that he cashes all those. And I had to laugh, man, because it was an emotional win, but it's one win. It's one win.
Right.
And Jaron McIntosh, when I interviewed him, as emotional as Nielsen was, Coach McIntosh is like measured, because he knows it's a long season and you can't.
Right.
But that game was like 3 games. Albuquerque High guard Jude Tapia had 28 points. And I'll tell you that in the Metro, he's so quick and so athletic that any guard that has to guard him is going to have a very hard time keeping him in front of him. He's that good. He's that good.
Well, let's take a look at some highlights here, Ed. We'll take a look at first the Hope-Atrisco game. And Hope playing a very tough schedule as usual. And, it's going to go down to, how they gel this season, because as we say every year, well, Hope is a little more down than last year, but we've been saying that for 10 years now.
Well, they've still got Nidafin, Dockery, Colin Evans, and Hall of Fame coach Jim Murphy back. So I really like their team, but I think they're 0-2 so far, if I'm right. I think one of the Eula Badis is also back for Hope. I think they dropped this game here to Atrisco Heritage, I'm pretty sure.
And Atrisco Heritage, very tough, although as we'll look at the rankings here coming up, not in the top 10 or actually they are. They're number 4. I was looking at the girls. They're number 4. So number 4 in boys, and Hope Christian number 2 in boys and 4A. And in the boys, it's 5A now, not 6A.
Yeah, that's right. So Hope is ranked number 2, you said?
Hope is number 2 in 4A,
Who's
yes.
number 1?
Las Lonas.
Okay, all right. So a change of a nice shot there that was a tough reverse layup. So Hope's not ranked number 1. They're the defending 4A champs, but they moved down to 4A. They're in 4A, right? There's just Valley
Yeah.
moved down, Highland moved down. So, okay, Las Lunas does deserve that #1 ranking.
So if we look at these highlights, it was a very close game, and that's one of the things that Hope Christian does. They'll keep themselves in games.
With that, I always said this, and you and I have talked about this for years. Their first dribble defense is as good as any defense in the state, and so Jim Murphy wins a lot of different ways, but it starts on the defensive end. Nice shot there. I think that was Nidafin.
So 61-53, and now we'll switch off here. Let's go ahead and look at the Cleveland Clovis, as that was my 50's game of the week, as my 50 starting off early here in basketball season, and this is a good matchup.
Jaden Isler returns to Clovis. He used to play there, of course. His father was the late Jaden Isler. I can't remember his first name. Coach Isler was the coach there at Clovis, so Jaden Isler played there, and now he's coaching Clovis, and this is another runaway win. But a closer than expected game. Clovis hasn't been really relevant in many years, so Jaden Isler, the coach at Elida, I think won 4 titles there, returning to his native Clovis. And, again, it's tough to play the Storm with Jalen Munn, Amir Mohammed, Nakai Smith, Josh Tari. Trey Watson still sidelined with a ankle injury. He's not even in the lineup yet, so you can imagine how good they'll be when he does return, probably, I would say, mid-January.
Yeah, that's the thing that's impressive about them, is the fact that he's able to be on the bench and his team not really missing a beat.
No, they haven't. Josh Terry's a real big guy. You know, he's a bulky guy, but some of the plays he makes, and he's light on his feet. He makes some really good passes. He's kind of deceitful. You look at him, you're like, man, he doesn't look like he has a lot of foot speed, and he surprises you. He'll hit a 3. He'll make a pass for the alley-oop. He knows how. He's been in the system for 3 years now. So they have other pieces besides Mohammed and Nunn, and that's really who they rely on. But when you imagine when Trey Watson comes back, how much of a help he's going to be. He's already a seasoned veteran as a sophomore. So I expect big things from him.
So it was 66-55 at this point with just under 5 minutes to play, and Cleveland put on a nice little run there. Clovis kept it tight, though.
No, they did. They were in it. They did keep it tight. And, again, Jaden Isler returning to Clovis, that really helps them. I think just his name, the name alone, Coach Isler, again, spending many years there at Clovis. And, him returning definitely helps the state of the program, which has been kind of, fluctuated up and down for many years. You know what? They had Matt King out there for a while, the former La Cueva star. That didn't work out. And if you remember, right. Steve Davis, of course, the former Clovis Wildcat. I go back many years when Jimmy Joe Robinson was the coach. Steve Davis played under Coach Robinson. And at one time, you mentioned Hobbs, and it was always synonymous with Clovis. Hobbs, Clovis, Hobbs, Clovis. And so Clovis hasn't been relevant in boys basketball in many years. So I think bringing Jaden Isler there is certainly a start in the right direction. They used to get a lot of kids from the base there. And, they always had a plethora of talent, it seemed. And that seemed to have dried up on them. Look at Alamogordo. Alamogordo was good for how many years in football? Right. And they got a lot of kids from Holloman. And I don't know what's going on there. Alamogordo for the last 4 or 5 or 3 years at least, have been kind of struggling with talent. And back in the day, man, my goodness, Alamogordo Tigers in football and basketball, man, they would really bring it.
Take a look at one more set of highlights. It's a boys and girls matchup. Let's do the girls first, as it was Sandia and Las Cruces. And we'll take a look at those games here as, Sandia, always an outstanding team, and Las Cruces. What can you say about them?
Very well coached by Matt Abney. They lost a lot. They lost a lot from the state quarterfinal finishers last year. But anytime they come in and Cumber back for Sandia, Sapira Broussard also back for Sandia. Lee Keddick was devastated by injuries last year, and he's at full strength for this season, so it's good to see those 2 players back.
Yeah, with Sandia jumping off to an early lead. And Sandia, by the way, number 5 in this week's poll. We'll get to the polls later on in the show, but Sandia off to a very fast start, and that's something that against a team like Las Cruces, like you said, they're down a little bit this year, but not used to seeing quick starts against Las Cruces. Usually it's the other way around.
No, it is, but I think of the players that he lost, you're going to. Oh, nice, that was beautiful. You're going to miss some things when you lose senior laden team that Las Cruces had, and you kind of again with Matt Abney there though. He's such a class act all the way through. A great coach and a really humble man. I really always like doing his games and interviewing him afterward.
Yeah, Matt Abney, an outstanding coach, and the one thing that he'll always do is he'll get the best out of his players.
You know what? And players that are maybe the 8th or 9th player, and they'll really come through for him. He's real good about that. And I think his players, I'd love to see. I remember last year they had a picture, a nice straightaway 3, of him and his daughter Sarah hugging after the game. And I think there's Sebastian Noel with Lee Keddick. So it doesn't get any better than that. So you're right. I think. And then on the boys' side, you'll probably look at those highlights. I was watching the game this morning with Las Cruces, and the former Aggie William Benjamin coaches the Bulldogs,
right.
And he's always got a chip, man. He's got a chip. But I mean that in the most respectful, affectionate way, because he'll let you know, don't go to sleep on my Bulldogs.
That's exactly right,
yeah.
And he'll be the first one to follow you on Twitter to make sure that you're not saying anything bad about his team, and I like him a lot, and he's another guy, just like Matt Abney did, gets everything out of his players that he can.
His son's a freshman, and I was watching this morning, and he was nailing, threes, and this game, of course, was Saturday, but the one thing about Coach Benjamin, he'll tell you, too, he'll tweet me or, he'll email me, hey, Bulldogs are coming to town at the end of the season. He'll always let me know, hey, Coach, expecting to see you.
Right.
Good luck.
Right.
And, of course, they take on the personality. As an Aggie, man, that guy was a tough defender, a very good player.
Well, you saw that block there, speaking of defending, as they would get a bucket on the other end to make it 43-24 at that time. And tell me he sits down during a game.
You know what? When I officiated his games, he really doesn't, and Bruce Carver said that.
He's on his feet all the time.
Yeah, he is, but he doesn't really rankle or get on the officials, at least when I called his game.
No, he rides his players.
Yeah, he sure does.
He'll be there to make sure that his players are doing the right thing.
A lot of respect for Coach Benjamin. A lot of respect.
Absolutely. So do you see any surprise teams right now at this early junction of the season? Because, there have been a lot of games on TV, obviously, a lot of coverage of the games, but a lot of times the season really doesn't start until the Metro.
No, it's true, and I think the surprise team to me so far is the Del Norte Knights, 3-0. They've got some pieces. I mentioned Nielsen, Brock Bryant Jr., Malik Barton, Jonathan Wilkins. I like what I saw. They went into Bulldog City and won in overtime, and Albuquerque High has the smallest team that they've had in many years. But if you keep an eye on guard Jude Tapia, man, that I think 28, 26 so far, and I think 20 again on Saturday.
Wow.
You know what? When I watch him, he is so athletic and quick. It's no guard in this metro area, and I'm talking about Muhammad and Nunn as well, and I don't mean that in a bad way. The ball is part of him, and he's so fast and quick. He makes one move, and then he's got you on your heels, and then when you're on your heels, he can stop and pull from 3-point land, and he plays at an edge. That night that I saw him against Del Norte, he fouled out, and the referee was trying to come over and they got into it a little bit with one of the Del Norte players,
right?
And he knocked the referee's hand away. But look, I've been there. I'm not knocking him for it. He spilled it all on the court, and I've been there before. When you lose like that, and you wake up the next day, and I've told you this before, it's like a 3-day hangover, man, without the alcohol, because you see it, and the kid loves basketball so much. I talked to his father afterward. His brother Bobby played for Sandia a couple years ago, and he said he used to have to tell his son Bobby, let's go practice, let's do this. Not with Jude. He said Jude lives and breathes it, and you could tell by the way he took the loss afterward that it just and that's why I felt bad for him. Those games there, you hate anybody to lose, but you know what? The good thing is, I used to tell kids when I coached, the best news is we play again in 24 hours or 40. We got another chance to redeem ourselves. But if you saw it, Scott, he spilled it all on the court, man. He really did.
We'll take a break and come right back with another segment. First, the top 10 plays of the week brought to you by Dreamstyle.
Nice dish to clock underneath. Get that out, said Garcia. Baker back out to Barrett for three. Got it!
Over to Gutierrez. Gutierrez.
Euro step is rejected emphatically by Nielsen.
Here comes Baldonado. They got a 3-on-1. And Brown says, get it out! Cumber intercepts. VNA on the fast break now. He's got 2-on-1 on the bounce to get it back to Cumber underneath. Oh, what a pretty move.
Pick and roll at the top of the key. Amir's got a step, and Amir's going to go all the way and count it.
There's a drive underneath. Okoro! Thank you very much.
That it was stripped away out in front. It's Blankenship, and he's got a wide open lane. No, he's going to put it down on the left hand.
Away.
High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every Proview Network broadcast live on the NFHS network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProviewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlings, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
We're back here on the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez. Glad to have you along here on Comcast Channel 26. Proview Networks, also on Facebook Live. Alden Iawani is always doing a great job as our producer. Time now, Ed, to get to the polls. We have basketball polls. We'll do girls first, and we will start with 2A, which basically used to be 3A, but you look at 2A, Texaco number 1, Magdalena, and you've got Mescalero at number 5, and really looks almost like 3A did last year.
I think if I remember right, Texaco had the number 1 ranking for, I'm sure of it.
I think on the girls' side,
yes.
they were number 1 the whole season.
Yes,
and then the boys were number 1 for probably the last few weeks, but Texaco's girls were number 1 all season long,
Things picking up
if
the way
memory serves me correctly,
were last
a year ago.
Yeah.
So there you have number 2, and It is the NMOT coaches poll, so let's go to 3A. And thanks to them, there's Robertson at number 1 on the girls' side, Tucumcari, Hatch Valley, Santa Fe Indian, and Socorro. And how about Santa Fe Indian? We're probably the best gym arena in the state.
You had a picture of their arena last year, and man, yeah, I think you said you were up there.
See,
for
Cleveland High to me is probably the best gym, but they have an arena. They have arena seats.
Probably an arena that's not well known either, right? I mean, I haven't seen it. You did have that. I think you were there last year for a remote, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there for when the Lobo. It was the Lobos Aggies serviceman game.
Right.
Or not serviceman. It was the politician game that they have up in Santa Fe.
Which it might be coming up again in January,
That's
February.
usually February, or end of January, February. So yeah, so we were there for that, and that's always a good event. But I was blown away by that arena.
No, I remember you saying
that. I've been to hundreds upon hundreds of gyms around the country, and I'd never seen nothing like that for a high school.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It really was.
Let's go to 4A now. And 4A, you've got Gallup number 1, followed by Los Lunas, Highland, Kirtland Central, St. Pius.
Okay, you asked about a surprise team, and look at Highland. I think Kaylee Crawford, the junior, had 38 points in the game last week. So, and a lot of people don't remember this, and you weren't here then, but you've heard of him. She's the granddaughter of ex-Lobo Willie Howard, played with Marvin Johnson, Michael Cooper, Russell Saunders, that team there in 1977-78. That's his granddaughter. And so 38 points last week, a pretty darn good start for the season. Highland dropping down, I believe, to 4A. So Coach Lonnie Neal said in the paper, too, he feels real good about his group. I saw Pius against Monzano last week. I know Hope Christian had a tough week of competition as well, but they played some 6A teams. I believe they lost to Cibola and Los Lunas with Marty Zeller. I think they also had a big loss last week, if I'm right. So Gallup, back in the day, man, you know, under Coach Lamonsi, the Hall of Famer, they would always be number 1. So Bengals in a familiar spot.
We will start doing our on-screen stats and leaders here in the next week or so, but Kaylee Crawford, number 1 at 25 points. We go by Max Prep, so if you don't post, please start posting. And we will get your stats on the leaders. We'll also keep up the stats per team, so that would be a big help to us if you have that information. Let's go to 5A now. And 5A, you got Hobbs, number 1, followed by West Mesa, Carlsbad, La Cueva, Sandia. And that's a look at Ralph Tasker Arena. Looks like the Boston Garden, doesn't it?
Look at those banners. Look at, you know, the interested me. I had a good look at West Mesa last week, although they played Rio Grande. And, you know, Rio Grande, again, under head coach Corey Collins, trying to build a program, trying to get numbers. He's absolutely doing the best job he possibly can. It's tough to build a program there. But, you know, West Mesa, Maya Rivas, Esperanza Vados, Jaden Castellano, this is their 3rd year being together, you know, and they got a transfer, Cece Barella from Las Vegas Robertson. She's joined this team. It's a team that likes to space and kick and drive and kick. Very quick team, and they'll play up-tempo all game long. Is this the season that Manny Otero finally gets that blue trophy? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, his teams have been very, very solid the last couple of years, and we'll see what happens here. And back to the scoring leaders as we have a couple of minutes before we go to break. I mentioned Crawford, number 1 at 25 points a game after 3 games. Juliana Aragon is at 24 points after 5 games from Bernalillo. Jalen Bates from Volcano Vista, 21.5 points after 2 games. Ashley Shipley from Tucumcari, 20.3. And Maya Williams from Monzano after 3 games, 20 points. There's your top 5.
Okay, I had her last week, Maya Williams, the guard, junior guard at Monzano, the daughter of Roger Williams, the head coach of Monzano. Maya Williams had 5 3-pointers that night against St. Pius, and the Monarchs going on to win. She was our player of the game. And the thing about Maya Williams, when she hits these threes, it's nothing but net. Nothing but net. I think maybe she drew iron on one. Very heady player, just like a coach's daughter, like Pat Abney's daughter, Sarah Abney at Las Cruces. She runs the show for Roger Williams. And I got to say this, you know, you asked me what team surprised me. You know, a couple years ago, Monzano was really struggling, and girls. and I think Roger Williams has done a very good job there. You should see how patient they are in their offense. They pass it around 6 or 7 times, trying to get a good shot. So that's obvious that Coach Williams has drilled that into practice sessions about let's be patient. We don't have maybe the best speed or the best players, so we have to be smart in what we do execution-wise. And I was very impressed by what they did. I was very impressed.
You just brought up a great point, Ed, because if you don't have the best speed, maybe not the best players, if you have a solid bunch of core players, that's the style you need to play in New Mexico because there's no shot clock.
Right.
So you can play possession basketball, and we've seen this a lot of times, possession basketball, especially with no shot clock. If you got the right tools, you can win a lot of games.
I think that's an approach that at least that Roger Williams has at Manzano. You know, he's got a few pieces, none more than his daughter Maya, who's connected to him because they go home every day and they watch film together. And she did a great job against St. Pius in controlling the tempo, shooting when she needed to, dishing off when she had to. So you're going to hear more about Maya Williams. Like that 20 points, I think she did have 20 that night. She had 20 against St. Pius. So she must have followed that up with some other good performances as well.
Biggest upset that I saw in California in the state tournament, I was covering a team from the Pasadena area, and they were a juggernaut. They had a big guy with 6'8". They averaged about 70 points a game. They played a team from up north in California, and they were heavy underdogs, and they played a slow-down game, and they held the team that was averaging 80 to 35 points.
Holy cow.
And won the game 40 to 35.
So no shot clock.
No shot clock. In the state tournament, there was no shot clock. I think they've changed that since because I think at that time, Northern California didn't have a shot clock. Southern California did.
Interesting.
So
it's very interesting.
They had different rules. So then they played in the state, and they had no shot clock. It was up in Sacramento. It was at the old Arco Arena. And the team, with all the talent, got shut down because of ball control. And the team, I forget what the city was. It was a little town in Northern California, just outside of Oakland, I want to say. And they had a guy who was 6'7" also. So they had a big guy, but it came down to who made the shots, and that team made a few shots, and it was almost like a soccer match. I was talking with people from the LA Times that day. You get that 1-0 and 2-0 lead, and it's like a 10-0 lead. And they had like a 4 or 5 point lead, 6 point lead, and it seemed like 15.
Well, when you're doing that, you're trying to limit possessions, and then the other team.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, the other team that's
they
used
held
to.
on to the ball for 2 to 3 minutes at a time, literally.
Yeah, so I think.
And that's why I said if you got the right elements, and Manzano, it sounds like they've got a prolific scorer. If they got the right elements and they play that style, they could surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, they really could.
Because that's the kind of style that people don't want to play.
No, I think that's true.
Against, especially.
I think that's what you're going to have to do against West Mesa as well. As West Mesa girls, coached by Manny Otero, you have to try to limit their possessions. And but then again, if you're going to do that, you have to have ball handlers, good passers, good fundamental players to be able to execute that kind of game plan.
Time to step aside. We'll take a break here. Come right back with another segment. We'll go over the boys' polls here in just a moment on the Sports Desk.
Dream Style Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dream Style Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog! Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car crafters, it's like it never happened.
This is Coach Borrego of the Charlotte Hornets. Hello to all you parents out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I want to congratulate 38 years for the AYBL. You guys are doing a great job. You've shaped a lot of lives, young men and women, and you'll continue to do that. Parents, get involved, sign your kid up. It's a great program. It helped shape who I am today, helped shape me as a basketball player, as a coach. So get out there, sign them up. Have a great season. Good luck to everybody.
Talk to State Farm agent Greg Shamus today.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
The service department at Gala Chevrolet is clean, modern, and ready for you. Our master technicians service every make and model, including certified service on any GM vehicle. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car crafters, it's like it never happened.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every Proview Network broadcast live on the NFHS network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProviewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
We're back here on the Sports Desk. Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez, talking sports, talking high school hoops. Season started a week ago, and we are in our second poll of the season. Let's look at the boys' side now. We'll look at 2A first. Once again, it goes up to 5A, no longer a 6A. In basketball, and you got Pecos #1, followed by Texaco, Magdalena, Santa Rosa, and Newcomb. Manol is at #8, although they don't have their big guy anymore.
Michael O finally graduated there. I'm not even sure if he ended up at a JC. I'm not sure where he went, but he certainly...
Well, he went to CSUN. He actually played against the Lobos in the first game.
Okay.
Played as a freshman. So
yeah, he developed a lot from when he was a freshman at Manal to when he was a senior.
It brought the questions of why didn't you bring him to UNM, because he played against UNM in the first game.
And who's he playing for? I'm sorry.
CSUN.
Okay, all right.
So In fact, I think he had a few rebounds in the first game against the Lobos. That was the game that the Lobos pulled out on a last-second three-pointer.
Okay, so he went to a pretty decent university. Then Lobos won on Anthony Mathis' three-point shot, if I'm correct.
Yes. Yeah, so Manal at number 8, so we will be keeping an eye on them all season long. Let's go to 3A now, and St. Mike's is at number 1 with that vintage gym. West Las Vegas is number 2, Sandia Prep, Laguna Acoma, and Santa Fe Indian. They're in the top 10 here on the boys' side this year.
Well, St. Mike's, coached by former Santa Fe Demon head coach David Rodriguez. They come in at number 1, and as you mentioned about that gymnasium there, what an ambiance there. I played there. I never officiated there, I don't think. Oh, I did. I officiated there, and it's just a great place to call a game. It really is. David Rodriguez has some good players back from last year, and the son of former Santa Fe Demon legend coach Bobby Rodriguez, Ernie Rodriguez, his brother, coached also. Ronnie Rodriguez, his brother, a Santa Fe legend. So the Rodriguez family very well known in the Santa Fe area, no doubt.
Let's go to 4A now, and for now it's Las Lunas at the top, followed by Hope Valley, Espanola Valley, and St. Pius rounding out the top 5. You got Artesia Bernalillo at number 7, Gallup Del Norte at number 9, a team to watch out for. As Ed mentioned, 3-0 in silver.
Okay, so Valley beat Berlin, and I believe they also won their second game. They moved down to 4A. Las Lunas under Travis Julian. You can always count, and I think the interesting thing to me, though, Scott, is Hope Christian is bunched up together with Valley, Las Lunas, Espanola Valley, St. Pius, Bernalillo under Terry Darnell. You better watch out for them. Del Norte under Jaron McIntosh at 9. I'm telling you, keep an eye on that team. They're much better than a number 9, at least I think. But Highland, they won a couple. They beat Cibola last week. They're moved down to 4A. So those are the teams that kind of intrigue me, the ones that moved down, Valley and Highland. Pius and Damian Segura, I had a chance to look at them against Manzano last week, and the Monarchs did come away with a win. But Coach Segura always seems to have the Sartans, especially around February, competing for a state title.
Let's look now at 5A. In 5A, you got Cleveland number 1, El Dorado, Las Cruces, Atrisco, and Volcano Vista, the top 5. Go below that, Santa Fe at number 6, Rio Rancho 7, Roswell 8, Capital is 9, Clovis at number 10.
No surprise with the Storm, right? No surprise at all. El Dorado with Quintana back, and they've also, I believe, had a transfer in there. I didn't get a chance to see him, but they lost some really good players as well. But Roy Sanchez, the JV at El Dorado, the last couple of years has been very good. But yeah, so and then it's 3 with Las Cruces, and don't forget about the Bulldogs with head coach William Benjamin. They had a good week up here in Albuquerque, and the Atrisco Heritage, the defending champs under Adrian Ortega. They're still formidable. I like the way they did lose Arroyo. They still have Josiah Ramos, Gaxiola. They're still a formidable team, as is Volcano Vista there at number 5. So yeah, interesting top 5 there, but I don't think anyone, and again, if you remember, Cleveland still, we mentioned this before, this first segment, they don't even have Trey Watson, and they've been scoring 101, scoring 88. And, again, with Watson with that, they called it, James Yotis called it a severe sprain, so he may not be back. I wouldn't risk it till January if I'm Sean Jimenez, but those kids heal a lot quicker, but those high ankle sprains, take about 3 to 5 weeks.
Well, you got Hobbs in the others category, and they have Jalen Young, who is averaging 18.7 after 6 games already. Speaking of Jalen, for Cleveland, you got Jalen Munn and Amir Muhammad at numbers 8 and 9 in the scoring leaders. One thing that Cleveland's basketball team does, they put out stats. So 18.5 for Jalen Munn, 18.5 for Amir Muhammad.
Kind of funny because Heath Ridenauer keeps, the Cleveland football coach, keeps those stats close to the vest, man. He really does. So Sean Jimenez has a different approach.
He'll give them to you.
No, he will.
That's nice.
No, he will. He's a great guy.
He'll give them to you. He doesn't withhold them.
Yeah.
It's just he doesn't post them on Max Preps, where some coaches will, some won't, and that's a coach's preference.
Right.
So, but how about you got 2 guys averaging 18.5 points?
The long, lengthy, athletic, and plus how many open court dunks did they have last week? They had a lot.
Right. Well, there you got it. Lightning and Thunder, Jalen Munn and Amir Muhammad. And so those are the career numbers as you got going. As I mentioned, Amir Muhammad at 18.5 after just 2 games, and Jalen Munn 18.5 also after 2 games. That is this year's average. So good job, guys. These guys pull stuff out of the hat all the time. Huh?
They're on top of it, man. They always are. But you know, again, that's interesting to me that their stats 18.5 for both of them, or 18.5 and 18. Does Trey Watson, when he comes back, you know, then you got another threat there. And
Right.
Nakai Smith has been on varsity for 3 or 4 years. Josh Terry has been there. It's a veteran squad. It really is. So Cleveland is going to be formidable again this year, and they've already off to a great start.
By the way, you got Josiah Ramos listed at number 11 after 3 games, 18 points for Atrisco Heritage. Josh Barraza, Highland, averaging 18 points, and Alexis Aguilar from Belen, averaging 17.5 points.
They lost a lot there in Belen, the defending 5A champions. They lost a whole bunch of to graduation. Alexis Aguilar, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also the football tight end, if I'm right. He averaged 23 yards a catch this season. That's a good athlete. Also punted for them and played defensive end. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy.
And how about this name? Nathan Hasbury, a sophomore from Cleveland, averaging 17 points.
They mentioned his name when I was watching the replay last week, and I was trying to find out. I only watched it for a few minutes, and I was trying to think who is this Hasbury. So think about that. You got Muhammad and averaging 18.
Well, who
and
is
Munn,
Hasbury equals 17 points
right.
a game?
So there's another 7 right on those guys, Muhammad and Munn's tails. He's averaging 17. And no Trey Watson. I know I keep saying that, but he's going to come in and really produce. I think Watson as a freshman, I believe, averaged 9 points a game. So as a freshman, that was pretty, or 7 or 8 around there. So that's pretty good as a freshman. You know he's got size. He's got more strength as a sophomore than he did last year. And he's going to be able to really add to the rebounding offensively and defensively, plus rim protection for Cleveland.
Well, this is why Cleveland is number 1 right now. They got 3 guys averaging 57 points.
Yeah, 3
all
guys.
Together. 3 guys.
Right. They get out and run in transition. They turn a defense into offense. They press. So right now, there's no question that the Storm is the runaway number 1 team.
53 points, but you get the point. That's a lot of points
Yeah,
for
yes,
3
it
guys.
is. Yeah.
That means that you can't key on anybody.
And then you got another guy coming in here pretty soon. You can't key on anybody.
Right.
It's going to make it that much harder.
So we looked at the polls, and we will talk a little bit about the Lobos after the break here. You're watching the Sports Desk here on ProView, Comcast 26.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
Ah!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club, or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car crafters, it's like it never happened.
This is Coach Borrego of the Charlotte Hornets. Hello to all you parents out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I want to congratulate 38 years for the AYBL. You guys are doing a great job. You've shaped a lot of lives, young men and women, and you'll continue to do that. Parents, get involved, sign your kid up. It's a great program. It helped shape who I am today, helped shape me as a basketball player, as a coach. So get out there, sign them up. Have a great season. Good luck to everybody.
Talk to State Farm agent Greg Shamus today.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
The service department at Gala Chevrolet is clean, modern, and ready for you. Our master technicians service every make and model, including certified service on any GM vehicle. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car crafters, it's like it never happened.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
And we're back here on the Sports Desk. Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez here on ProView Comcast 26, Facebook Live. You can also watch us archived on YouTube as well. Alden Iowani doing a great job as our producer-director as always. And we will be back next week, of course, every Tuesday at 10:30. Reruns around the bend as they go on all week long, so you can check us out right here. Well, Ed, let's talk a little bit about the University of New Mexico. First off, the story, and you know what they always say about, sneaking news in on a Friday. That means they don't want it to be a big story. Well, Bob Davie was announced that he's coming back. They had a press conference on Friday, and it's kind of funny because the media kind of calls them out on it, saying, well, you're doing this on a day where no one can react to it.
Yeah, they did. They have a sit down, and I saw it, and I heard what. Look, here's the thing, though. They don't have the money to buy him out, right? That's not going to happen. Coach Davie's not going to come to Eddie Nunez, the UNM athletic director, and say, I want to leave. What's going to take to buy? He's not going to do that. He made it clear a month ago. He still felt he's the best guy for the job. He didn't waver from that at all.
Right.
So the conference, and I read in the paper. I read Jeff Grammer's account. Was that they're going to try recruiting, they're going to try new things to get fans interested. All the talk was good, right? It's all good as far as what they're saying. But here's my opinion. You've got 2 seasons in a row where you lost 7 games, 3 and 9 seasons following a 9 and 4 New Mexico Bowl appearance. So, again, I'm going to say this though, and I know because I've been here. Okay, I've watched Lobo football since 1970. So it's a cultural thing here. Okay, if it's not Bob Davie, Rudy Feldman, Bill Mott, Mike Shepard, Dennis Francione, Joe Morrison, Jolie Dunn. It's a cultural thing. Football is never, ever. Now, Rocky Long had some great years. He did. We remember that.
Right.
In fact, my son and I were looking at a picture with Dontrell Moore on the field, and my son said, look, Dad, look at all those people, 38,000, right? 30,000. So it's happened here. It's happened. Rocky Long isn't here anymore, and he's not coming back.
Right.
Okay? So we can go on and on about, maybe Paul Krebs made him. He did make, right? He made a mistake. We're looking back. He made a mistake. We should have kept Rocky. He's not here. Okay? So we've got to move on.
Right.
And the thing is, all I can do is be a fan and hope that things get better. They're not going to give up the program. So anybody that says get rid of football and bring soccer back, that's not going to happen. That's not happening. But just
the only thing I would look into is dropping down.
They've
to
talked
where
about
you
that.
can win
They've
a
talked about
championship, but dropping it, no.
They talked about that too. And a lot of people thought maybe they should do that. My question to you and
more people are saying that now than ever.
To drop down. Drop down. And I've read
what
that. What
surprises me from the people that have been saying that, those used to be the people that were firmly against it. Yeah.
So the only thing is, and I said this a couple weeks ago, what changes? In other words, what changes are you making on your staff? Because if I'm the head coach and Eddie Nunez says to me, okay, Coach Davie, we've 2 seasons in a row, we have a 7-game losing streak. What are we going to change? You're staying. You're coming back. So what are we changing? Are we changing? You're staying with the spread, and you're still saying you're staying with offensive coordinator Calvin McGee. The defense has been. So what are you changing? If I go into next season and I say I tell the community here that everything's going to remain the same, but I want you to come to the games, what's the reaction from the community?
Well, see, that's the problem, and I think that's why they had it on Friday, because there's no changes that are being announced. From what they announced, everything's staying the same. So how do you keep things? It's almost unheard of where there's not one change, because even with Rocky, and of course with Loxley, and even when Davey started, there was turnover.
That's what I mean. And you know what? I'm not going to sit here and speculate who should go. I'm not going to do that.
No, I'm not either.
Yeah, but that was, I read it and I reread it and I read it again.
But there's a lot of people against the no change just because, like you said, culture.
If I'm telling you the same thing that we're 6 and 18 over 2 seasons with 2 7-game losing streaks, but I want you to come, but nothing's changing. Now he's saying he's going to recruit and this and that, and hopefully they're going to reach out to the community more. But the bottom line is, what are the results here? Now, Bob Brown said this too, the former ESPN host of the Locker Room. If it's a football town, they show up at 2, they show up at 4, they show up at 8. It's not a football town. I'm sorry. It's never been, consistently. People are crazy about it. They were with Rocky. I was there.
Right.
I remember they had 44,000 for New Mexico State.
Right.
I'll never forget that. I had to park miles away. It didn't matter. I enjoyed it. But you know what? It's been a while, and Rocky Long did probably the best job. And I've watched all those coaches. Francione wasn't here long enough. Joe Morrison was here for 110 in one season, and he left. So as far as all the coaches that I mentioned, the one that I thought did the best job was Rocky Long. So, you want someone that's in touch with the community. And, if things work out right? Now, the knock on Coach Davie is he lives in Scottsdale. Is he really in touch with the Albuquerque community? I don't know. But all I know is this. He's coming back next season. So, you know what? I'm going to start keeping an eye on Lobo football. Of course, I'm going to support. Try to go out there as much as I can, because that's all I can do.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very interesting run for the Lobos. And, of course, next year the Aggies do come to town, so the attendance should, in theory, go up a little bit.
Well, you know what?
At least for one game.
Gosh, Scott, I don't know that you can keep funding a program that maybe has, 5,000, 6,000 people. And
isn't that what they've been saying about New Mexico State for many years? And I told people, well,
I don't know.
New Mexico in football isn't that far removed from New Mexico State, and I think that's rearing its ugly head, unfortunately.
Aggies have never really, and they had a bowl season. Remember what they were at last year? They went to the bowl, man, and they won. They won the Arizona Bowl. So right now, look, and that includes.
Well, they had a lot of people at that bowl, but it didn't equate to a lot of people this year in the stands.
It didn't. No, it didn't, and it really never has as far as football. Now, Pan American Center.
That's another story. Yeah.
But let me just say this.
See, what have you always said? is a basketball state.
Always has been.
Basketball state.
Yeah, let me just say
For
this,
both.
though, that New Mexico State's brand right now under New Mexico State Athletic Director Mario Mocha is selling better than UNM's brand is.
Yeah.
And it pains me to say that. You have
Well,
no idea
it pains
how
me
it's a
to say
punch.
that too, actually,
When I
but
saw
yeah.
the Lobos score, basketball 100 to 65, I was doing a game. It was like a sickening punch to my stomach.
Right.
Look, they lose to the Aggies. I get it. But by 40, I've only watched that
Right.
series for
Right.
50 years.
Right.
So, yeah, it would really
This is a game after the Lobos needed a huge comeback to make it a 2-point game. And I think
Here at the pit.
the final margin was, 4 points, I believe it was? It was 98-94. They pulled within 2 after being down by 18 with a big comeback. So 2 games against the Aggies with double-digit, almost 20-point deficits. Since I've been here, I don't remember that ever happening. Usually it's the other way around.
Maybe a little bit misleading, but I'll tell you one thing. Look, Chris Jans at New Mexico State take Kansas down to the wire. And, I know Kansas was missing their center, but still, the Aggies are much better than we thought. And they, again, Corey Manigault, the Lobo center, missing, but he did that to him. He did come out and apologize in the paper this morning. We'll see if he plays tonight. This is Tuesday against Colorado. So right now, everything with Coach Weir, as far as the way the system, the press, the starting people by deflections, things like that, everything right now is in question, and I'm sure no one's
Right.
questioning it more than Paul Weir.
Well, 7-1 is Colorado going into tonight's game, and 4-3 is New Mexico. So that in itself should be a very interesting game, as you got a couple of teams sort of going in different directions. Both teams have something in common. They have 3 players in double figures. You got Anthony Mathis, 14 points, Manigault at 12.8, Vance Jackson, 12.4. For Colorado, you got McKinley Wright at 15 points, Lucas Seward at 12.1, and Tyler Bay at 12.1. And then a couple of players, actually 3 at 9 points a game for them, and you got 9, 8, and 7 for the Lobos. So, a lot of balance on both sides, it looks like.
Okay, here's the thing, though. The way I look at it, St. Mary's is a pretty good team, too, right? And they beat the Lobos pretty handily as well on Friday night. So, they're back here at Dreamstyle Arena, and they need some kind of positivity for the program, because when you get beat like that, one time it's bad enough, right? But when you get beat back-to-back like that, and again, let's face it, this is a fishbowl here. The community starts,
Right.
The community, and you know what, though? I'm going to be honest with you. I said this on 610 on Saturday. Some of the things that I've read, they're just crazy stuff, right?
Right.
Most of these people, let's be
Right.
honest. Again, I respect everybody's opinion, but they're some of these people, and most of them have never played, coach, nothing, right? Okay, they're couch potato guys, and we all are,
Right.
right? So am I. But man, it's just we had said this to Coach Weir last March.
It's amazing.
This is a fishbowl. We did
it's
say that, right? We
amazing.
did say that.
Fire him,
Oh, gosh.
fire this guy, fire
Yeah.
this guy. You hear that all the time. It's like, you lost 2 games.
Right. They loved him last year, right? It almost takes
Yeah.
them to the Mountain West, almost to the tournament,
Yeah.
right? Now, if we get to
And remember, they were pretty bad at the beginning of the year last year,
Right.
too.
Right. Loved
and
it.
he turned things around.
Like,
so
give him some time.
Don't think he can't turn things around again. I'll tell you this, is we're in the final minute. The schedule's a little tougher at the beginning this year than it was last year.
I'd say a lot tougher.
Yeah.
And maybe we didn't think the Aggies were, maybe we didn't give them, look how good they are.
Right.
So Chris Jans, look, right now, as I mentioned, it pains me to say this, the Aggie brand is selling better than the Lobo brand. It kills me to say that, but it is. It is. And Chris Jans, when they lost Coach Weir, and Coach Jans had some problems at another school, but look how well they're doing.
Yeah, the softer part in theory is coming up, as the Lobos will have Central Arkansas, North Texas, and Penn coming up, and then that almost New Year's Day game up in Hobbs against the University of the Southwest. Want to thank everyone involved, Alden Iawani, our fine producer-director, Ed Nunez. I'm Scott Coletti. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one.